All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Do me a favor, hit that smash button. Also follow me on Instagram for the car enthusiast lifestyle. So today, I could say this pretty much hits home because this happened on the West Coast. As you all know, I'm on the West Coast, let alone I'm in the Bay Area in California. I grew up in Vallejo, which means I grew up around a lot of Filipinos in the Filipino community. Vallejo was actually about not even 10 years ago, it was ranked one of the most diverse cities in the country, even though there's only over 100,000 people in population. But the other Filipino considered cities are Union City and Daly City outside of Vallejo, and also Vancouver, Canada. Like I said, the West Coast has a large population of Filipino community. So I guess there was a street festival in Vancouver, Filipino flavor. So let me see. So this is pretty much the aftermath. Somebody plowed through it with an Acura SUV. Let's go ahead and play the news clip of what happened. Let's go.
We are all experiencing a range of emotions right now, from grief to anger to disbelief.
This morning, a Canadian city is grieving after a deadly rampage left 11 people dead and dozens injured, ranging in age from 5 to 65. Police say a 30-year-old man, Kai G. Adam Lowe, plowed a black SUV through a crowded street festival Saturday as people celebrated Filipino culture. He has now been charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder, and authorities expect to file additional charges.
He just pushed the gas all the way through the whole block right there, crashing into everyone in his way.
Everyone started running, and then I hear crying, weeping, and I started getting a panic attack.
Witnesses at the scene were able to subdue him until police arrived. Police do not believe this was an act of terrorism.
The person we have in custody does have a significant history of interactions with police related to mental health.
The block party drew tens of thousands during the day. As the event was winding down Saturday night, authorities received a code orange indicating a mass casualty event. Black Eyed Peas singer Appledy App, who had just finished performing, later writing on Instagram, "It's hard to describe the shock and heaviness we feel." Sheldon Nipshank returned to the scene soon after the crash.
I was in disbelief of what I saw. I just hope everybody has the strength to get through this.
Some of the victims still have not been identified. It's also not clear if the suspect who appeared in court entered a plea to the charges against him. Police say they conducted a risk assessment prior to the event and determined they did not need dedicated police officers or vehicle barriers. Now they will try to assess whether or not there was more that could have been done to prevent this tragedy.
Okay, so you guys heard that. So I guess we're going to blame mental illness for pretty much terrorist activities now. That seems to be the norm now. Even though Canada doesn't consider themselves America, but they sure do act like it. And those of you that are not familiar with the Filipino community, they're very nice people, very nice. I can't tell you how many number of Filipino families, houses that I've been into. You will be doing karaoke and you will be eating a lot of food, and they'll probably send you home with some to-go plates because usually they're bundled with food. Like, there's so much food, it's overwhelming that you can't even fit it in your refrigerator. But anyway, it was a packed festival. As you've seen, Black Eyed Peas was there, and this was a 30-year-old man that was arrested. And he seems to have a history with the police, as said in the video. But let's take it down to the crash. The attack happened at East 41st Avenue and Fraser Street at 8:14 p.m. local time, West Coast time. People were at the Lapu Lapu Day Block Party, and it looks like a lot of fun too. And the suspect's name doesn't even sound Filipino. He sounds like of another Asian descent. But anyway, Yuseb Vorde, who co-owns food truck at the festival, told the Vancouver Sun that he had heard an engine revving moments before speeding. So it sounds like it was intentional. He said when he walked out of his food truck, he saw bodies everywhere. Wow. Then there was a clothing vendor there, Chris Penglinen, and he heard what sounded like a F1 car about to start because of all the revving. Vroom, vroom, vroom. So this was intentional, it sounds like to me. All I can remember is seeing bodies flying up in the air higher than the food trucks themselves and landing on the ground and people yelling and screaming, he said. Adonis Quita, who was with his 9-year-old son, told the AP that the vehicles struck families waiting in line for food. Damn. That's crazy. Can you imagine waiting in line for food and a vehicle just out of nowhere just strikes you? That's just crazy. He just pushed the gas all the way through the whole block, crashing into everyone. So I guess his goal was to take out as much people as he can. So let's see what else is said. This is more footage going from day to night. Last night, as members of Vancouver's Filipino community gathered for a celebration of community and culture in East Vancouver, their collective safety and security were stolen when a man decided to do a maniac act. Wow. Before the festival, police worked with the city to assess risks and found no known threats to the event or the Filipino community, Rai explained. He said that as a result, it was determined that police officer and heavy vehicle barricades were not necessary at the festival site. As you've seen, there were no thick barriers for traffic. And officials said they do not believe the attack was an act of terrorism. That's bullshit. But then, have you noticed this is becoming more common at these festivals? So, the city said the Canadian flag will be flown at half-staff at all the city buildings until further notice to honor the victims. Wow. So let's take a look at the death toll. It was 11 people total, age from 5 to 65 were killed and more than 24 injured. Wow. Those are going to be some large hospital bills as people are struggling with health care. But the death toll could climb. It's just like when an earthquake happens, they don't know for sure how many bodies are left behind under rubble, I should say. So in an interview with NBC News, Tuan Lei said that 3 of his relatives were killed. Damn, that sucks. He identified them as his brother, Richard Lei, 47, his sister-in-law, Lin Hong, 30, and his niece, Katie Lei, 5. Wow, that's too bad. Tuan Lei said his brother died at the scene, while his sister-in-law and niece died at the hospital. We're just one of the many families that have been affected by this tragedy. So even though we have lost 3 loved ones, we have closure. We can take next steps, he said. Wow. He's a champ about it, too. Other families are not as lucky and are just waiting to see if their loved one is going to make it. So that's another stressor, too. So for those of you, what is Lapu Lapu Day? Well, in 2023, the province of British Columbia declared April 27 to be Lapu Lapu Day to celebrate the legacy of Datu Lapu Lapu, a fearless, indigenous Visayan chief train who was the first to rise against the ride of Spanish colonization, the festival's website states. He is often regarded as the country's first national hero. Wow. Because as you know, Canada doesn't have a lot of heroes to begin with. But last year was the inaugural block party. Headliners for the event were Filipino-American artists Apple de Ap and J. Ray Soul from the Black Eyed Peas. Wow. So they had just finished performing though, right before that crash. Okay, we're pretty much repeating what the video said. He said, it's hard to describe the shock and the heaviness we feel, he wrote on Instagram. Please keep the victims, the families, and the organizers in your prayers. Wow. So let's take it more down to the suspect. Like I said, the driver was young, 30-year-old Kaji Adam Lowe. He's been charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder. Damn. And, of course, with the mental issue, he only served like probably a year. Because people with mental issues always get off easily. It's pretty crazy. Wow. So now we have to be more cautious about attending street festivals because this is on the rise. People just plowing their cars through crowds of people. It's happening more often, you guys. Anyway, I hope this gave you guys a little bit of insight of what happened. This is Kyle Vale. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
Thank you.